Hello everyone, my name is Pascal Garot and I'm a professor in applied mathematics. And this short video will tell you a little bit about me and about the research that we do in my group. I was born in France, in Strasbourg, and I did my undergraduate in physics and mathematics there. I then moved to Cambridge to do my graduate studies, where I joined Trinity College and studied astrophysics at the Institute of Astronomy and the Department of Applied Mathematics and Theoretical Physics. And in 2004, I moved to California to take a position as a professor at UC Santa Cruz. It is also through this move that my research became more applied mathematical, and today my main research topics are astrophysical and geophysical fluid dynamics. Although I have worked on many different topics over the past 20 years, the current research topics that my research group is interested in can be categorized under solar fluid dynamics, looking in particular at the rotation profile of the sun, which is shown in this picture here in color, and trying to explain it through a combination of turbulent motions in the outer convective regions and magnetic fields in the underlying stable region. Another big part of my research is in stellar fluid dynamics more generally, looking at turbulent mixing by large and small scale instabilities. And these can be categorized in two groups. One looking at instabilities that cause stratified turbulence and primarily shear instabilities. And the second type is various types of convection, ranging from standard convection to double diffusive convection, with and without magnetic fields. A final topic of research that is of interest at the moment is that of particle-laden flows or particulate flows. And in this category, we are interested in both instabilities of particulate flows and the tendency of fluid to concentrate particles, which plays an important role in many applications in astrophysics and geophysics. The general approach in my group is the following. We first find an interesting problem to look at. And the typical questions we're interested in at the present is: how does rain form? How do planets form? What mixes a star? Why are there staircases in the ocean? Then we design a numerical experiment or a series of numerical experiments to solve this problem. And of course, we run the experiment. And this is usually done on supercomputers, either at UC Santa Cruz or on national supercomputers. From these numerical experiments, we collect a lot of data. These could be snapshots of the simulations, these can be time evolution of the solutions, or these can be collecting a lot of data from a lot of different simulations on a single plot to try and figure out what's going on. And then comes the hardest part, which is to brainstorm to understand what the data means, to try and make sense of the different possible regimes that we observe, to try and classify them, and to try and understand the physics behind them. From that understanding, we usually try to come up with a simple model that explains the data. Now, that model reduction can be done using dimensional analysis, asymptotic analysis, multi-scale analysis, or many other approaches that are inherent to applied mathematics. And usually, an inspired reduced model captures the basic physics of the problem and is able to explain most of the data. Coming up with simple models is crucial if we want the theories that we developed to be usable by others when they try and model more complex systems. This approach has generally paid off very well. Me and my group have gained strong international recognition. I was recently elected a fellow of the American Physical Society in the Division of Fluid Dynamics, and I'm an editorial board member of Physical Review Fluids, which is one of the premier journals in fluid dynamics. I'm also on the executive committee of the Geophysical Fluid Dynamics Summer Program at the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, which is one of the foremost graduate training programs in fluid dynamics. And finally, I'm the founding director of the Kavli Summer Program in Astrophysics, which is a graduate training program in astrophysics. So I encourage you to look at my website to find more about me and my research group, and to contact me if you're interested in joining it.
Hi everyone, my name is Dong Lee, and I'm an Associate Professor of the Applied Math Department at UC Santa Cruz. As a department member, I'm very glad to meet you at this virtual event. So in this short video, I'm going to introduce some of the interesting research projects that I've been working on recently. My research primarily focuses on developing nonlinear numerical algorithms for computer simulations for gas dynamics and plasma physics. My main research direction is to develop novel numerical discretization methods that are computationally efficient, stable, and higher accurate to solve nonlinear systems often described by ordinary differential equations and partial differential equations. Furthermore, I endeavor to materialize such algorithmic developments into practical open source computer codes to provide science and engineering communities with reliable, predictive computational tools that can run from laptops to supercomputers. My first project I want to introduce is developing higher-order numerical algorithms using Gaussian process methods. This project concerns developing an entirely new paradigm in designing higher accurate spatial algorithms of finite difference and finite volume methods. The new Gaussian process interpolation reconstruction schemes can serve as an alternative to the conventional polynomial-based counterpart with added computational flexibility and accuracy. In the second project, I have been working on advancing numerical solutions in time with improved computational performance at least twice as fast as the traditional Runge-Kutta methods. The new method is called the system-free Picard integration formulation, which can feature temporal solutions at third order or higher at single-step temporal updates, which is very different from the traditional Runge-Kutta updates using multiple stages. My third project is relatively newer than the previous two projects that I just mentioned. This project is about developing high-order discontinuous logarithm methods using an implicit solvers. I'm particularly interested in looking into new research direction, exploring a neural network to design novel preconditioners for implicit algorithms. Lastly, I have been involved in the Flash code development. Flash is an open source community code in astrophysics and high energy density physics community. I wrote the Flash's main hydrodynamics and MHD solvers in the past, and I've been involved in various cutting-edge science projects using the Flash code. Please contact me if you have any further questions. Thank you for your attention.
Hi, my name is Nick Brummel. I'm a professor of applied mathematics here at the University of California, Santa Cruz. I got a PhD in applied mathematics from Imperial College at the University of London. Moved to Boulder, Colorado, worked at the University of Colorado for a while. And then in 2007 moved to UCSC, where I've been ever since. And now I'm a member of the Geophysical and Astrophysical Fluid Dynamics group here at UCSC. Let me tell you a little bit about my work. The things that got me into fluid dynamics in the early days were watching professional football players, soccer players that is, bend balls around a wall in a soccer game to score amazing goals. And watching the Tour de France and bicycle racers racing crazily behind each other very, very closely, drafting a fluid dynamics phenomenon, which saves them tremendous effort. And I grew up on the southwest coast, not surfing big waves like this, but always intrigued by surfing. And perhaps that's what brought me to Santa Cruz in the end. And I was always interested in the aerodynamics of jets and of fast cars. But ultimately, I didn't end up doing those sort of things, and ended up being more interested in geophysical and astrophysical fluid dynamics, and in particular this object, which is the sun, our nearest and dearest star. Now, the sun is a very turbulent ball of gas. We can observe it, so we know lots of things about it from the observational standpoint, but we don't know anything or much about it, anywhere near as much about it in terms of the theory of how this thing works. So I'm very, very interested in, for example, how this thing creates its magnetic fields. And as a mathematical modeler and someone who's interested in computational modeling, I got into modeling of that astrophysical object. We can do global models, or we can look at more local models to try and understand very particular transport phenomena. So here's a little box simulation of the transport of magnetic fields. It's a bit missing, there it is. This is convection, moving magnetic field around a transport process. So how it moves magnetic fields or chemical species, how it creates magnetic fields, sometimes known as a dynamo problem. These are things that are of great interest to me. Had a bunch of students work on elements of this project, of this type of problems over the years. Here's some nice simulations by current students, Jacob Noon-Wayne and Bishop Menek, on dynamo aspects and the rise and transport of magnetic flux structures through a convection zone. Just examples of the sort of type of simulations we do. Here's another one by former student Lydia Corey, now back in Colorado, trying to understand this weird interior layer in the deep interior of the sun called the tachocline. All fun stuff using computer simulations. Now, of course, there's a bunch of mathematics behind all this stuff, which I don't have time to go into, but these problems are very highly nonlinear, and so it's hard to make progress with pencil and paper, so that's why we resort to numerical simulations. And now there is a great art to taking a mathematical set of equations, modeling them numerically, and then modeling them efficiently on parallel computers. And that's the sort of work that I do especially. So that's it in a nutshell, what I do. Of course, always looking for new, bright, enthusiastic, hardworking students to work on this sort of stuff who are interested in exciting fluid dynamics or different interesting fluid dynamics relevant to stars and to geophysical things, planets and the Earth itself, all very relevant. So if you're interested, let me know, get in touch. I'm happy to tell you lots more about this and to hear what you're interested in and what you might want to do. That's it for me. Bye.